let's come back to the stability and the squad and the board. We all knew that there was a financial crisis at Juventus after the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and a lot of people, a lot of Italian press, a lot of journalists in Italy started saying that the reason behind that is the signing of Cristiano Ronaldo, and the kind of money that you have to pay him. You have to pay him a 31 million a year salary, and he came in for 100 million. I think even at that point of time, Juventus had the support of some sponsors like Fiat or someone else. I'm not really sure. But then there's an argument to be made that even if Ronaldo costs you 30 million, he brings in a lot of money to the club. He brought in so many sponsorships. He brought in so much of endorsements to the club. Adidas, renewed the sponsorship with Juventus. But leaving all of that aside, when you look at Cristiano Ronaldo and what he did for 3 years at Juventus, he scored 100 goals. He holds the record for the most goals scored, or he's tied at the most goals scored for a season, and he did that twice by scoring 37 and 36 respectively, if I'm not wrong. What is your take on the whole agenda, or on the whole perception of Cristiano Ronaldo being the reason for the downfall of Juventus? Because a lot of journalists say that he and Juventus were not a good fit, while a lot of other people say that Juventus and him were a good fit, but the board wasn't. And it's
Yeah.
like you bought the topping for the cake, but the cake just kind of melted away. So which one is it for you?
It's a tough one, and there's a lot of layers to the Ronaldo discussion at Juventus. If you go right back to when he signed, 100 million for Ronaldo at that time, sure, that could have been the missing piece based on where we were, and that was the biggest thing. I think the sense of belief in that team and what we had there, it was very much the feeling that Ronaldo was the missing piece for Champions League. Here now you bring in a Champions League killer, a serial goal scorer. This should be it. Um, Now, what goes on behind the scenes, fans only get a portion of that. So you get an idea of financially where things are, but not as much as the guys that are involved. Then you have how he was signed, which was massive, that not a lot of people paid much attention to, and now are starting to circumnavigate and go back to. We highlighted it very well on our podcast and our shows that the way Ronaldo came in was through dissension, because Paratici circumnavigated his own mentor, Marotta, to bring in Cristiano Ronaldo. Marotta at the time, it was seen as like just this jealousy that it wasn't his signing, it wasn't somebody he brought in. But looking back, it was probably Marotta realizing that bringing him in leads to something that's unsustainable for Juventus financially. Because massive, you've got 100 million euro signing. He was making 61 million before taxes and takeaway. Like, he took home 30 something plus million annually from Juventus. But what it actually was gross was 60 something million. It was insane. Pepe Marotta knew that. They cut ties with Marotta. Marotta's team building skills are fantastic, and everybody's seeing that now at Inter. And now he has to go to our bitter rivals. And he led the charge with Conte, and they worked together, and they did their job, which was to dethrone Juventus. They succeeded. We are left now in a period where we've got Ronaldo. COVID hits, so all the rewards of the financial rewards of having Ronaldo are basically swept away completely. Then you're left with a roster that, like I said, prior to Ronaldo coming, you have this belief that you're kind of up here and he's a missing piece. And then as he's there and you start to watch and see, you're not actually up here. You're kind of lower, much, much lower than where you need to be. So you've got this cherry on top, but you haven't finished baking the cake. And that's where it kind of stood with Ronaldo. And I felt like that sums up his entire tenure with Juventus. You know, you've got something that you can't maximize or get the most of because the rest of the pieces aren't there. How he was portrayed as being the problem was not based on performances, was strictly the fact that because he was there and because of the amount of money it took to get him and to pay him annually, you can't boost the roster enough to support him. And COVID kind of affected that as well. So you had a tough scenario. It was the right guy. It was just the wrong time. It was the wrong time. And nobody can fault Ronaldo for it. He did his job. He scored an absurd amount of goals. He scored over 100 goals in 3 seasons. It's just a mute point to say that he didn't hold his end of the bargain. The unfortunate thing is Juventus couldn't hold theirs. You know, they couldn't support him well enough. So there you have it. And that's sadly a bittersweet era for Juventus because you have this machine and we just didn't really get to maximize it or what could have been, right? So be it COVID, be it whatever, I think it could have gone a lot differently had we had not been shattered as far as resources go. You know?
Yeah, I mean that did play a big part, and when Ronaldo signed for Juventus, you looked at the roster and you saw, they've got Paulo Dybala, they've got Douglas Costa, they've got Chiellini, Bonucci, Alexandro was pretty good at that time. So I mean, people who used to watch Real Madrid, all the Real Madrid fans were like, he's going to a good team. This is a good roster. They almost beat us without Ronaldo. With Ronaldo, definitely they can compete for the Champions League. But when you get there and when you see the whole picture, when you see the way Juventus plays, and you feel like, okay, something's missing. Maybe Ronaldo is missing that strike partner up front. Maybe he's missing the right midfield. And then it goes on for one season. You try to change the manager. Sarri comes in and he's like, these players are untrainable. I can't train them to play the way they want to play. They can't play attacking football. So what happens is that Ronaldo starts dropping in deep. He's the one who has to create. He's the one who has to score. Paulo Dybala ends up having injury problems whenever the UCL knockout stages come around. Finally, in the third season, he has a manager who wants to play a certain way of football. It works at times it doesn't. Federico Chiesa is up there to aid him. Morata's there to aid him. You finally see something coming together, but then, the whole Porto things happen. And, I think we saw it in the documentary. I think after the Porto game, that was the moment when Ronaldo decided, okay, this project, it's not going to work. I think it's time to move on from here. And I think that was the moment we all decided that, okay, we don't think that Ronaldo is going to stay here for another season. And to add fuel to that fact, Andrea Pirlo, who had a pretty good relationship with Ronaldo, is sacked. And they bring in Massimiliano Allegri. And Massimiliano Allegri comes in and he's very vocal about the fact that Paulo Dybala is going to be the center of the team while Ronaldo was there. So that certainly makes people think. That certainly makes Ronaldo think. And I think Patrice Evra spoke about it, that wasn't the right thing to do, especially when Ronaldo was there. He was right there, and you go to a press conference and you say that he probably won't play every game, or that leaving him out is a tactical decision. So all of these things happen, and then eventually he leaves. And that is it from the Sportsway for the first part of this video. Just to make sure, please follow the All Juve Cast channel, and its link is in our description. And at the same time, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel, as it is essential for our growth. We hope to see you soon with the second part of the video with Alberto and All Juve Cast. Till then, see you soon.